So yesterday we took a look at Lotus changes. Today we're going to do Icebox changes. Now I held off from doing this because these changes were leaked, and I wanted to see, if there was maybe more to it. Maybe the leaker missed something, but it seems like nothing else has come out. So we'll just talk about it and what's changed. And this is going to be broken down into two parts. First, we're going to talk about the changes, and then second, we're going to talk about the changes that aren't made and why it is a massive problem, and Icebox will still be an awful map. But first, let's talk about the changes they have made. So first one here. Not really a big change. I don't really understand, wouldn't have been high on my priority list, but they added a box on here. I guess that makes it slightly easier for people to push in mid, or not have to deal with this angle here. It's not a big change. Don't worry about it. It won't affect your game. So as far as I can tell, looking for this picture, that's the only change that has been made there. So yeah, don't worry about this one. This one is a bigger change though, because they've taken the green box here, and the crane has lifted it. The box has been lifted, which first might impact some lineups, I guess, maybe, possibly. But obviously, it makes this space a lot wider and bigger, and I think they've also deleted this box here that is no longer there. So this space has kind of become a big, wide open space, and for me, this helps the attackers. Because before you used to see, right, like a jet, maybe would get on here, or maybe even be, on this box just here, or maybe come on here and, get aggressive and, try and fight from these different angles, jets, omens, those kind of things, right? They would try and, do this and try and get kills from doing so. But now you're not going to do that, right? Because this is a very wide open space. You maybe could try running up here and like updrafting up onto this box and hoping that, that they don't hear it or don't catch you in the process of running up here, but that's not going to happen, and you might not be even able to escape, to be honest. So you're never going to do that, okay? Or at least you're never going to do that and live. And so yeah, basically it just means the defenders can't push this space, and they're probably not going to, especially because obviously there's two ways to come in through this kind of area now as well. And to be honest, this might have a pretty big impact, because before you used to see very commonly, Sova drone or something, come and clear this space, check if anyone is pushed up into any of these angles. Whereas right now, you probably don't need to do that, right? If this is this open, you probably don't need to, because, I mean, maybe a defender will play here now, right? And just aim to try and take this fight and then run back, right? You'll probably see that quite often. But other than that, I don't really know what they want defenders to do in this space in B now, to be honest. And I do get why they changed it, right? I get why this is kind of messy, right? And it's kind of awkward and it's kind of weird and it's just a mess. Kind of like, it's a perfect example of what Icebox is as a whole, right? There's random boxes placed in random positions, it feels like, and it creates really weird, awkward angles that you don't see on any other map, and it doesn't make any sense. And so I get why they tried to clean it up, right? I get that why how many other angles can you like crouch and see people, but you can't stand and see people? It's kind of weird. Don't get it. So I get why they changed it. It's just that the change that they made, I don't really get, if I'm honest, because I don't feel like, I don't know what they want defenders to do now, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know, like, at least, you could get aggressive here and, potentially go away. And that was always a threat, right? Now, I don't know what they want them to do. But let's move on. Let's move on to changes that I think do make more sense. And here's one of them, because I mentioned this in my video. Make this wider. And they did. So that's good. They also added this window. And I think that this is a good change as well. I like this change as well. Now, I like this change not because it makes doing an A-split even harder. Somehow they managed to find a way of making an A-split even more impossible, because obviously now a defender might come in this window and just kill you from above as you're running to do your A-split. So you're never doing an A-split, but you never really were before, so don't worry about it. But what this will mean is, if we come to kind of the second angle of this, here, the window from kind of inside tube, is you have these boxes here. And these boxes make this an attacking sided window, right? Because if a defender is in here and shooting at you in kind of mid, right? If a defender is looking towards you in mid here, they might actually have a problem that as they try and, if they get hit or something, right? Or they try and get away, and I'm fairly certain you can spam these walls, but I guess we'll see. That, they'll run into this box and actually it will take them, a bit longer to actually escape from this window, right? So that makes it harder for them. And obviously if someone is coming up tube, right, and you're a defender and you were hoping to look outside this window, but people are coming up tube, you're just stuck and you don't have an escape, right? So that's good. Whereas for the attackers, obviously this acts as cover for them, right? That if a defender is looking down here, they have the cover of this box, you know, whether they're coming up tube and they want to push further or whether they just want to stay here, they have a bit of cover. And also it allows them to cut off rotations from A, you know, towards B through mid, right? That an attacker here can just sit here and just, you know, stop any rotation coming from that way. So that's really good, right? And it gives you an incentive to try and play in mid and try and take this space as the attackers, which is a good thing. This is a good change. I like this change. I think it's cool. And also they've changed mid kind of, you know, towards B here as well in a way that I suggested as well, which is this space here, you know, around the kind of orange box was just awful. The way it played out was just ridiculous and terrible map design. So they fixed it. They, again, bricked it up, as the kids say, right? Just basically removed it from the game and just, you know, made it a lot cleaner, made it a lot better. You know, means that when you come and do a B split, you look at this window. Is there anyone there? No. Or you smoke this off, right? And then you move on, right? And you just do that. And it plays out like a normal part of a map rather than the absolute gigantic mess that it was before, right? So basically, with the changes that they've done, they made doing a B split an actual thing somewhat, you know, and that's good, right? And so these changes in particular, these two changes, I really, really like, right? I think that these are good changes. With that said, though, the problem and the main problem, and we'll talk about this, is the changes that were not made. Because as far as we know, this is it. Right? This is the only changes. Now, here's the thing. Maybe the leaker is wrong, right? And there are more changes. But maybe they're not wrong. And if these are the only changes, then we have a massive problem. And I'll get into that now. But now we're going to do a little exercise here. And we're going to cast our minds back to what we used to think about Icebox. How we used to perceive Icebox. And our thoughts and feelings about that map. And maybe what was going on in that map. And some of you out there, some of you will be thinking things like, I actually did pretty well on Icebox. I actually was pretty good at X-Agent on Icebox. I actually had a pretty high win rate on Icebox. So I think that Icebox is actually a pretty well-designed map. And you people are wrong. Because Icebox was a horribly designed map. Because of the way that it played out. Because what used to happen on Icebox, I'm sure you're all aware, is 5 people used to go towards A, or 5 people used to go towards B, and maybe every so often we'd come up with the crazy idea of 4 people are going to go towards A and we'll have a mid lurk, or 4 people are going to go towards B and we'll have a mid lurk. And that's how the map played out. I just described pretty much every single attacking round of Icebox, at least 95, 96, 97, 98% of all the attacking rounds on Icebox. There's no creativity to it whatsoever. And with the changes that they have made, they haven't fixed the fact that, yeah, sure, you gave people an incentive to go to mid. Hey, you can look out this window and you can cut off rotations. Isn't that nice? Hey, we made doing a B split maybe actually possible. That's really, really great, guys. Really good job. The small problem with that, little small problem, is that still doing a B split is probably going to be harder than just going B or just going A, planting the spike, running all the way back here, an impossibly big space for the defenders to try and clear out completely, and I just win the round. Why would I not do that rather than going B and doing a B split, which, yeah, sure, you've made, like, possible, but there's still got more challenges than just, you know, going A, or, you know, you actually made going B easier by clearing this space out as well, so why would I not just go B? It just doesn't make any sense. You tell me right now, what the map designers want someone defending B to do. Where do you want them to play? Because you removed all of this, making it harder for them to push up and get aggressive here towards B. So they're not going to be doing that as much. Sure, there might be this one little angle that they stand on here. And that's it, right? That's it. So you maybe have one angle to clear out here. Obviously, they could play back towards yellow, right? They could play somewhere back here. The problem with this is that there isn't really a way to escape from being in this situation. Sure, you might get your 1 kill, you might get 2, you might pop off and get an ace, like Som did that one time from back here. But the thing is, majority of the time, most of the times, you're going to go 1 for 1, which is good for the attackers. Or you're going to go and just die without getting a kill. Also very good for the attackers, right? So what do you want them to do that isn't playing somewhere back here where they're just going to get smoked off? Where are defenders meant to play here? What are they meant to defend? How are they supposed to defend this site now? I don't know. Without just playing retake. I don't know. Right? Or just hoping that you pop off. Which is never what it should be. I honestly do not know. I could not tell you. And then A has been completely unchanged as well. And here's the thing. You could very easily fix B. Fixing B is extremely easy. And I pointed this out before. All you got to do is make it so that people can't plant here. As soon as people can't plant there, they have to actually take the site. They have to actually push deeper than they normally do. Right? They have to start taking some space and actually fighting in areas. Which again incentivizes doing a B split. Right? If you can't plant here and you have to actually take the site, doing a B split makes a lot more sense. Right? And having that be like an option that you go for a decent amount of the time. The problem is they haven't done that. And I think I know at least, or have a suspicion of why they haven't done that. Because if you do that, then everyone would just go A 12 times in a row because there's no reason not to. Right? You would then have to fix A as well, which I think is probably a problem that they don't know how to solve because it's quite tricky to do so. And so instead, what they've done is they've said, we can't really fix A. That means that we kind of have to leave this in here towards B, which means that essentially all of our changes that we've done to mid probably won't make that much of a difference. And look, maybe I'm missing the point. It's very possible that the Valorant devs are just saying, hey, we don't want the best, agent composition on every map to be, 2 initiators and 1 controller and 1 duelist and 1 sentinel, right? Or 2 controllers and 1 initiator, right? Maybe they're just saying that. And they're saying, well, here's a map where the best comp has to be, 3 sentinels and a viper and 1 initiator, right? No duelists get played on this map if you want to play it at the very best way that you can, to create agent diversity and to create comp diversity. If that's what they're trying to do by doing this, cool. That's a really cool idea. And I think that's a good direction to maybe be pushing the game in, right? To make people, really think about like what's, I need to have more defensive capabilities to create different metas and different diversity on different maps, right? That's cool. That's great. The problem is, I wish they would tell us if that's the case, because if they don't make that kind of clear to everyone, then it makes me worry that why have we done this, right? And it makes me worry as well that maybe they just didn't have enough time to fix this map. Right? Even though it's been out of the pool or whatever, in terms of like the dev time, what the map design team has been working on, right? That they've been working on Lotus and they made the new TDM map, right? That makes me worry that I would rather you fix Icebox than create a new TDM map. And I think 99% of players of the game would agree with me that fixing Icebox is more important than a new TDM map. So if that's the reason that they haven't been able to do it, that's not great. But if they did have enough time and they just feel like these are the changes that they're happy with, then that also makes me worried because I don't think that those changes are very good.